Welcome to the Primitive Republic Podcast, where we talk about the most primitive aspects of man to live off the land, hunt, and sustain oneself. At the core of our humanity, there are things that drive us. A sense to turn back the clock, to get away from modern life, and search for something primitive. Every week we talk to like-minded individuals that are looking to connect and create a community of people, a republic. Now your host, Aaron Schmaus.
I've got Dr. Brooks Tiller on here. He is, well, I'll let you describe what you're a doctor of. It's hard for me to actually describe, your credentials because was it sports medicine? Is that what it is?
Yeah, sports medicine, physical therapy is what my doctorate's in.
Okay. Well,
So
go ahead and
rehab and all that good stuff.
all right. Well, go ahead and describe, talk about how you got started in it and everything like that, and what your overall encompassing goal is with what you're doing.
So the big thing is, so I got into physical therapy, had several injuries growing up, played college baseball, had injuries, played a little bit after college, and through all my injuries, I realized, I went to therapy and they helped me get better. And as I got out of sports, I really wasn't sure what I was going to do. I had my undergraduate was in environmental science, looked at getting into wildlife, more of a game warden type, and the process to get into a game warden, it's one of those positions where most people that get in there, they stay in there until they die. And so the rate of getting in was kind of slow. And during that time, had a few more injuries and thought I would, as I was interested in the human body, in health fitness. So went in and applied for physical therapy school. And somehow they didn't look at my transcript close enough and they let me in. So they did not see my grades, I don't think. Yeah. But I got in and went, and through that, after I got out of physical therapy school, spent time traveling, working with, my goal was to work with elite level athletes, to work with the best, and, Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, Major League Soccer, Olympic level, all that stuff. So went through there and I did that a lot. I worked with a lot of those folks and it was great. But it's very time consuming. There's not a lot of time to get out and hunt and fish. You're at the park a few hours before any players get there to get ready, and then you're there until midnight or whenever the last one leaves. So it wasn't the best of for what I was wanting to do. I love to get out and hunt and fish. So as I got married and we decided we were going to live in Nashville, and I started working at some more outpatient type places and even some inpatient, nursing home hospitals, different settings. And seeing some of these people I came across, they just wanted to get out and do the things they want to do, or you get talking to some guys who their shoulder hurts and they're not able to shoot their bow, or they just, they've had a stroke and they want to go fishing again. And those kind of guys really, really piqued my interest. And I realized that I wanted to work with them. And it reminded me of my granddad. My granddad passed away when I was 17. And, I realized that if I'd have had a little bit more time with him, I would have learned a lot more woodsmanship, but also just about life. And it would have been great to have those moments with him. And so I realized that I'm not able to go back and get that time back, but I can help another grandkid have that time with their grandparents. So it's kind of where I shifted my focus, and just I wanted to help outdoorsmen to live healthier and better so they have more time in the woods, more time fishing, do whatever they want to do, get outside and pass that love that we have on to the next generation.
That's phenomenal. And so we had talked, was it day before yesterday, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what we had talked about was you were saying that you wanted to, really focus on the guys that are out east because, most of the fitness guys in hunting and in the outdoors and stuff like that seem to come from the West, because you've got all these stair climbers um, and mountain climbers and all that kind of stuff. You've got all the mountains and
Right.
everything in the West, but so you wanted an opportunity for the guys out east and Midwest and all that kind of stuff, which I think is phenomenal. Not that you're excluding the guys in the West, but uh, just really helping everybody have a healthier life, right?
Right. Yeah. And that's the big thing is trying to help everybody live that better, healthier life. And with my medical background and doing a lot of the rehab, one of my main focuses is, I teach everybody that I want you to move well before you move often. And just for instance, a lot of people may relate with in New Year's. You're like everybody gets gung ho and you get your gym membership or you get some new running shoes and you're taking off right there at the beginning of the year. And before long, you've got shin splints or your shoulder hurts or something's going on. And the problem wasn't, it's not that your running is wrong or not that your squat is bad, not that, your form is bad of any sort. It's because that you didn't get your body moving well before you moved a lot. And
Right.
that's one of the things that we need to really, and that's one thing I really focus on is meeting people where they are. And, I live in Tennessee, and here in Tennessee, we have one of the highest probably rates of gun ownership and probably highest rates of hunting license, especially here in the Southeast. This is where the majority of our hunting license in the nation comes from. But we're also, in the top, usually the Southeast has 5 of the top 8 most unhealthy, states and it's not necessarily because of inactivity. It's because of a lot of times the way we eat and the things that we don't do. And, because we're outside in the woods, but then we take it home and fry it up and eat it with a bunch of, breads and things like that
Yeah.
are playing a detriment to our health. And so in all that, like one of the big things that I really focus on is meeting the patient wherever they are, the client wherever they are. And like I said, I've worked with, Major League Baseball MVPs, World Series, NFL, Super Bowl players, Olympic medalists. But I've also worked with people in nursing homes and hospitals. So that wide gamut, most people are going to fit somewhere in that range. If you're not an MVP of a major sport, and you're not in a nursing home bed, like you're going to fit in that. You fit in there. I don't care who you are. And that's one of the great things that I'm able to do is it doesn't matter who you are. I can meet you where you are and help you from where you are to where you want to be. And that's the big thing is just knowing where you want to be. And if it's what you're talking about is a guy here in the Southeast Midwest who's that just wanting to decrease his back pain from sitting in the deer stand or improve his ability to pop out of a duck blind. Or if it's somebody who's got this hunt of a lifetime that they're going to get to go to Montana, Colorado, go out west somewhere and go hunt, that they're able to climb the mountains, but it's able to meet them there and just get them ready for whatever task it is. If it's just simply, hey, I want to go fishing with my grandson, like let's get you where you can walk down the bank and you can fish for a few hours, whatever it may be. That's my goal, is to help people just reach whatever goal they have set out for themselves.
Well, and you brought up a really good point. I mean, you brought up a lot of good points, but one of the really good points is, what we eat. I mean, just by and large, we eat like crap. There's so much processed sugar, and I know that gets beat into the ground, but it's true. So much processed sugar, so much bread and flour and, all that kind of stuff. Not that it's bad to eat every now and then, but it's not it's not sustainable. I mean, you're just going to be causing inflammation. You're going to be causing all kinds of issues, which makes it hard because even if, and you could tell me if I'm a little off base here, but let's say you do have something that's being a little bit aggravating, like say your knee or something like that. Well, sugars and stuff like that are inflammatory agents. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes.
So with that, you're pumping something into your body that no amount of physical therapy is going to help really, because you're continuing to pump this inflammatory agent into your body, and
Exactly.
you can't you can't make yourself feel better if you continue to eat like crap. You might feel a little bit better, but overall you're going to be still kind of feeling like crap.
Right. And it's kind of like whenever if you're working on something and you hit your thumb with a hammer, like it hurts. But if you hit your thumb with a hammer again, it's going to keep hurting. You got to quit hitting your thumb with the hammer in order for your thumb to quit hurting. And people don't understand, like, man, my knee hurts, my back hurts, and they'll come to me with therapy wise, like, oh, I need you to fix my knee. I was like, well, like your knee may have some things going on with it, but here's the thing, like you're eating fast food on the way to work in the morning, you're eating sugar-laden honey buns or whatever it may be in the car, and then you get to work and then you go out for pizza, and then at home at night you're grabbing something, some bag of something on the way home and eating it in the car and whatever. It's like all you're doing is giving yourself more inflammation. It's just like you keep hitting your thumb with the hammer. And that's one of the things you have to really look at it. And it doesn't have to be a big change. It's people like, you got to just cold turkey. And that's what I always try to tell people. You've got to figure out what it is. But for me, the overarching thing that's really simple and easy, and there's tons of different kinds of diets. You can do the paleo and the keto, or you can do the Whole30 or Mediterranean or all this other stuff. And they all work because they eliminate a lot of things, and they pretty much limit you to, hey, eating real food. And that is, for me, the key is when you sit down to eat, you say, is this real food? Did this come from the ground? Did it roam the earth somewhere? Would my great-great-grandfather recognize this as food?
Right.
And most of the things, that come in boxes and bags are not going to fit that category.
Well, they've got so many preservatives and, all that crap.
Yeah. I mean, and the thing is like, even now, like people are all, all this craze going on. People are stocking up on Twinkies and Ho-Hos and things. Well, that's fine, but like you're going to get sick. And then what are you going to do? Because you're eating so much junk. And even those kind of preservatives things, we don't think about it, but it actually affects even our own gut. So then when we do get good food, we're not able to process it. Yeah. It's the same thing, because I think with it's something as much as like Cheerios has more pesticides than a lot of other stuff that we could eat. And it's kind of crazy that you have different cereal grains and things that they get sprayed with pesticides because you want to kill the bugs. But the bugs are killed because when they take in the pesticide, it doesn't necessarily kill them. It kills their guts, kills the little bugs. And in our own digestive system, we have tons of tiny little bugs. And of all those little bugs, they're what help break down all the food. And that's why a lot of people have, we talk about prebiotics and probiotics and all that kind of thing. And honestly, if we're eating the way we should, we don't need necessarily the prebiotics, probiotics to take every day. We're not taking in all the junk and all the stuff that's going to actually kill the little bacteria and the little bugs, if you will, that are in our gut. And so, knowing where our food comes from, and I mean, as hunters, like that's the ideal thing. Is where you sit down for a meal, like this piece of meat came from, this deer, this elk that I killed on this day, and then I brought it home and I'm feeding my family, and you're also mindful of what you're eating, and you waste less. I mean, how many times do you go to a fast food joint and you eat, you're okay with wasting that food, but if it's something you went out and harvested yourself, I mean, like, you're not going to let that thing go to waste. You're going to eat it for leftovers, and you're going to put it in a stir fry. You're going to put it in a scrambled egg. You're going to make an omelet out of it. Like, you're going to eat it for 3 or 4 days till it's all gone. You're not going to let it go to waste, no matter what it is. You could be dove or squirrel. Like, I mean, I'm going to eat it all. I'm not going to let any of it go to waste. So those kind of things I think are really important for us to think about. Is it's not always just about like the workouts and like how much can you lift and how far can you run and how fast can you do it, but it's about you want to push ourselves, working out mentally as well as physically, because that's going to help us when we're in those tough situations. But also think about like things we're putting into our body, because it's just like a race car. If you put in a really good high quality gas into a race car, it's going to run good. If you put really cheap corn gas in there, it's probably not going to run really good.
Well, so and you bring up a great point too. Not to cut you off, but you bring up a great point. I'll go on long backpacking hunting trips and stuff like that. I have the opportunity out here where I'm at in Montana, but I eat keto when I'm out there. I eat on a ketogenic diet, and this is something that I started last year. I tried it out, and I was, I did it on a shorter hunt because I was like, no, I'm sorry, it wasn't last year. It was the year before that I tried it. And, I was afraid of what was going to happen. Oh, I'm going to go into ketosis, and then I'm going to get ketoacidosis and, all that kind of stuff. So I did it for like a 5-day hunt, and I had been eating keto for a few months before that. And I'll tell you what, it was just fine. I actually felt better on that hunt than I had in a long time. Usually after a few days of just grinding and stuff like that, you start to feel those aches and pains. And if you haven't really worked out and stuff, you feel those aches and pains on like day 2. But usually for me, it's like after I've been out there for, 3-4 days, I'm really starting to feel it, my knees, my back, stuff like that. I'm sore, but when I did a good diet in the backcountry, man, it seemed to have made a world of difference for me.
Yeah, and one of the things is you're not taking in a lot of that inflammatory sugars, processed stuff. And for those, I mean, the keto is all about, it's a higher fat diet, and it almost mimics a fasting state. And if you think about our ancestors, there were times whenever if they're chasing down animals, they may go 3 or 4 days and had no food, or the food they had was, the pemmican, the beef jerky of their day, that's just meat and fat. Mm-hmm. And they may have that stashed away in a pocket. They don't have very much of it, but they're eating on it, but their body's able to adjust. Hey, you got a little body fat on you. I'm gonna burn that. And then whenever you do get that meat, then you're diving into even the not only the meat, but the livers and the fats that are on that animal. That's whenever that's what our ancestors did, and no matter who we are, our ancestors hunted, so they were hunters, and they went out and found their meat that way and survived in a feast and famine style. And they were definitely ketogenic. And the thing about, talking about the ketogenic, if you're in the woods and you're like, man, I need that little extra bump. You're day 3, you're like, man, I need that extra bump. I've got a 100-pound pack of meat and I want to get home. I need this extra bump to get over this mountaintop. If you've got a little bar in your pocket, a little something, maybe have some honey in it, or even if it is that processed stuff, whenever your body is running at that optimal level, if you throw a little bit of that in there, it's going to burn it up real fast, and your body's more adapted to being able to burn different types of fuels.
Yeah.
So, it's kind of like if you have a nice fire going, you've got a couple big logs in there. Think about that being your fat source, your ketogenic, if you will. Well, then all of a sudden you're like, man, I just need a quick burst of, just something to make the fire hot real quick. Well, that's when you throw your dry pine leaves on there, and you got a stick of dry pine. You throw it on there, and it gets hot and burns hot real fast, but just for a short period of time. And that's kind of the way that I like to use sugar, where I'm not consuming a lot of sugar every day. But there's those moments, man. It's a hard workout, or it's a hard time in the woods. I might have a spoonful of honey, or I might have a little bar, a little snack, a little treat that has that sugar in it to just give me that boost to get through this really hard time that I need a little extra energy for. And that's really the way that sugar is made. I mean, in the wild, you're going to run across blackberries and blueberries growing. You're not going to eat the entire bush. You're going to get a handful, and you're going to keep moving.
And that's the other thing too that I do when I'm out there. Like, we have wild blueberries that grow around here, or huckleberries, or blackberries, raspberries. We've got berries all over the place, gooseberries. So I'll be walking by and I'll be throwing blueberries in my pocket and stuff like that. As I'm going, and I'll just kind of toss them in my mouth. And it's definitely not a lot of sugar. Especially
think about how sweet they are. Think about how sweet they are compared to the ones in the store that are probably 4 times as big, that we've genetically modified.
Oh, they're definitely not as sweet. They are.
Yeah, we've modified them for sweetness and for juiciness and to be able to travel across the country or half around the world. We've modified them for that. But the ones we find in the wild are not as sweet, but they actually hold more nutrients and vitamins and the good stuff than with the ones you find in the store.
Yeah. And I'll sit there and I'll snack on it and stuff like that as I'm going. And, every once in a while I'll have some pine needle tea or something, at night when I'm outside my tent, and get that huge amount of vitamin C from the pine needles.
Right.
Just different stuff like that. Thank you for listening to the Primitive Republic podcast, an Aaron Schmaus media production. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at The Primitive Republic. You can also find us on our website at www.archeryoutdoorsman.com.